In this LensVid Talk, we're looking at LiDAR follow focus, an All-Flash NAS, and the very first LensVid product. Stick around.
Hi, hello everybody. Hello Art.
How you doing?
And we're doing LensVid Talk 12. So you're completely out of fingers now. Yeah, no more fingers. So we have a lot of interesting topics to share with you. And the first one is something that I'm exceptionally proud of. And
I'll give you a little clap.
thank you. And it's this tiny little thing. I know how much you can actually see from this. I'll put it on the screen anyway. This is called, I don't know what's the exact name that they chose, but it's basically a mini L bracket. Designed not for cameras but for accessories, and this is something that is basically the first LensVid product. We came up with this basically with SmallRig over the past LensVid for the nation, exactly. So it's SmallRig on this side and LensVid on the other side, and it's the first product that we designed, or I designed, in collaboration with SmallRig. We've been working on this. It might sound strange because it's such a small and simple product, but it actually has some interesting features. Basically we've been working on this for a year and a half or so, something like that. And what it's supposed to do, I have an example in here, just a rig that I've built to show what it can do. So you can see, hopefully, in here, you can see that we're holding this wireless transmitter. It's a hold and wireless transmitter. And we're basically connecting it to the cage using this small L bracket on this side. Now, it's just an example. You can do whatever you want with this. Basically, whatever you need an angle to connect something into, this is the product for you. The nice thing about this is that I designed it in a way that it will be able to hold, basically, first of all, it has anti-rotation pins on both sides.
Good thinking.
Yeah. We always talk about, anti-rotation. So for sure, on my product, I've got to have anti-rotation pins. And they're, of course, like they
retractable.
Yeah. So if you run into something which doesn't have the pinholes,
there are still things that exist without.
Sadly, yeah. It does have some. It's a little bit like it has rubber coating on both sides. So if you don't have the pinholes to accept the R pins, then you still have some friction to hold it in place. So that's good. Obviously, if you don't have pinholes, it might rotate. In this case, for example, in this rig, it will rotate because because it doesn't have pinholes in this specific location. It does have on others, but it doesn't.
Yeah, like right there.
Yeah, but it's too low to connect. It was actually I removed the cables, but it was actually working with the cable, and you can see with the cables and basically connected to the camera, but then. You don't have the room here. So that's a product. What's nice about it is that it comes with SmallRig is basically supplying this with 4 screws. So you have a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. You get in the box another 3/8 and a 3/8. So you can do 1/4 inch to 3/8 or 3/8 to 3/8 or whatever combination you want. And this is really cool. You can basically remove those. You also get this small screwdriver sort of thing, and you can remove them, and then you have a 3/8 female and a 3/8 female, or you can remove the sort of adapter, and you get a 1/4 inch, or you get a 1/4 inch and remove it and get a 3/8. So a male to female, female to female. You can do whatever like combination you want. So this is really cool. It does bring the product. You can see it in here a little bit. Now it's loose, but you can bring the product just a little bit further away from what you're holding it into. But it's still small. So it's good for when you need just to push something a little bit out of the way of what you
can. Holder and a spacer at the same time.
Yeah, but the spacer is not very big. I'm considering, depending on how this will be accepted and how many people are going to be interested in this, to create a whole line of products just like this with different configurations. Some of them might be bigger. But again, it depends on the reception. So if you want this, I'll have a link below. You can buy it from SmallRig. Hopefully this will be just the first, not hopefully, we have plans for other products.
There's a lot more designs that you've submitted.
Yeah. So we're working on a lot more products. Hopefully some of them will come in 2024. It takes a lot more time to design, even something small and simple as this, than you might expect. You would think, this is, just a piece of metal with some screws, what's the problem? It takes a lot of time. And some of it is it's just the way things work. But so that's that. We'll have probably a video in a couple of weeks on how to use it or what it is good for, and the different combinations of things that you can do with it. And that's the idea. And again, that's you can buy it on the SmallRig website. And if you like this, be sure to support us by getting one. So that's the mini L bracket from SmallRig and LensVid. And now let's move over to some stuff that you've been working on some reviews. It's not here, but maybe you can show it on the screen. You've been working on a full focus review, right?
Yeah, it's the PDMoivie LIVE AIR 3 Smart. There's also the 3, and then there's the Smart. So we reviewed one of it. I think about a year ago, I did the LIVE AIR 2S. Very similar design. I think it's the same controller actually. What it is a wireless follow focus, but it's the smallest wireless follow focus. It's a tiny little controller that you can that screws onto any 1/4-inch mount, so you can actually have it just not on just any camera body, but for example,
you can put it on a gimbal. The connectors.
Anywhere. If you have a mini L bracket, you can actually put it on there. It would be perfect for that, actually.
Yeah, if you need the angle, of course.
Yeah, if you need that vertical angle. But having a cage, you can stick it on any side. This side, the handle side, the free side. It's a tiny little wireless controller. And then you have a little thin profile motor, and it's the same. It looks very similar to the previous
original one, yeah.
But they've managed to stick LiDAR in it,
which is amazing because it's so small and thin. I'm not sure how they were able to squeeze that sensor in.
I'm not sure what kind of sensor it may be.
Cars have LiDARs inside, but this is obviously like a shorter range, I'm guessing.
No, it's only a 4-meter range.
Yeah.
Well, 4 meter is what they're saying it will best work with, and then once you go past that distance, it'll just focus to infinity, like 30 meters and then to infinity. So, but for it to see what's going on clearly, and
it needs to be close, yeah.
It needs to be close. So it actually works really well and close, like very minimal focus distance for the lens. And obviously, LiDAR is to automate manual lenses.
Yeah.
Manual lenses, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can also use it on any lens, but if it's like a photo lens that doesn't have the hard stops, it won't work automatically.
So what will happen? It won't work at all?
No, you can use it. You can move.
Okay. So you don't have the
autofocus. Yeah. You're already on an autofocus lens if that's the case. So you don't really
I see what you're
need
saying. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but if you want, you can use it on any lens.
Yeah. But I think it does have some advantages and disadvantages over regular autofocus systems, because first of all, it can work in complete darkness or in very low light.
That's the main.
So even over a regular autofocus lens, in theory, if you're shooting, like, let's say that we have been doing this and you want to shoot, like, I want to shoot you, but I don't have lights for whatever reason, then it can still work even on an autofocus lens, but then on an autofocus lens, it won't work because of the
Because it doesn't know how to calibrate
Yeah,
it.
Exactly.
There is a process, a calibration process that you have to go through. You print out this
chart,
lines and swirly designs. Put it on the wall, light it up, and go from short distance.
It's a one-time thing.
It's a one-time thing, and then you program it, and then the motor has a little indicator light that'll glow up different. I think it has 4 or 5 different colors. And then you can they provide little sticky labels for the lens.
I have to say, why didn't they put an app? It makes so much more sense.
They have an app, but for some reason it doesn't
show these things.
That. The app only controls the motors. It's a controller app. Yeah, if you had a screen on the thing, or if you had an app.
There's one. You choose the lens, and you can have 1 million lenses, not just 4. Yeah. Okay, I'll talk to them about that, but yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
There's more that you can do with it. I think a lot more. They've kind of
the battery thing. I remember in the old one was a little bit annoying. Sometimes it didn't fail, but it's a friction based mechanism.
There's no latch on the battery. It just kind of pops in, and there's a little lip that just holds it, and there's no off switch on off. So
you just have to remove the battery?
Exactly. Battery in, it works. Battery out, it doesn't. So if you hit the thing, the battery pops out.
I think they need to... I like the design, but I think they need to make some small changes. Probably add some sort of a screen. It can be bigger. It doesn't have to be that small.
It can be big, exactly. Because with the cage and with the rod and with the whole thing, it increases, it's light enough and everything, but it increases the footprint dramatically.
No, I'm thinking
the motor can be twice as thick with a screen on it.
I'm thinking that they want to put one next to another if they have like lenses which have like a focus, zoom, and...
But you could have a master with a screen and the others don't have, like if they...
Actually, that's a
daisy chain.
Actually, that's an interesting idea.
Why not?
Actually, that's an interesting. Okay,
you can have they do have the pro version. I'm not sure. We haven't tested it.
Really?
I'm not sure.
What's the differences?
I don't know. Okay. I just saw it on their site because I was looking for what else they're doing. Because last year I remember their site having like other products, and I didn't really see them.
No, they're talking about. I don't know why it's taking them so long, but they want to be able to control a slider and even a rotating plate.
That's what I talked about in my review a year ago.
I'm really interested in those.
They wanted to use these motors and this wireless control
with a small controller. It's fantastic.
And create a whole ecosystem where it's
a great idea.
Control thing. And they actually had it on their website last year. That's where I learned it.
Now it doesn't...
I didn't find it.
I think it's still there, but somewhere, buried somewhere. Yeah,
Anyway, there's a whole thing brewing here. I mean, at one point, they'll figure it out. And I guess because it seemed to me like... I mean, yes, it's a big step forward, LiDAR and everything. And they managed to stick it into this tiny little housing. This development happening is just...
It takes,
I guess they're working on the actual technology, and then the presentation may change.
Yeah. I'll want to see more companies getting into this LiDAR thing. Sony can put it on a camera; it can be great, or whatever.
Sony, you can do it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so that's the PDMoivie full
Live
focus
Air 3 Smart
review. So that
the review is coming up soon.
So that's that. Let's talk about some stuff on the news in recent weeks. So YouTuber, podcaster Chris Williamson, he's really famous guy. He has I don't know how many subscribers, but a lot. Big time, yeah. He did a BTS, a behind the scenes video of a day of shooting. He's doing this very clean, very polished podcast interviews with all sorts of really interesting people. So the last one that he did, the one that he was showing the BTS for, was with
Andrew Huberman.
Yeah, another really famous guy on the internet, neuroscientist or
nutritionist.
All sorts of things. And I think I also I've seen the actual video, but he showed the behind the scenes of how he works on these ones. It's a lot of work. It's like...
It is. I always appreciated the picture that he provides. And he talked... I'm not sure if it was in this interview or some other one, like somebody interviewing him about his podcast.
Okay.
And he was talking about like his idea for creating this podcast was because there'd been a lot of great podcasts, but they didn't look very great. It's like the content is amazing, but it's just like some camera in the corner doing things. So he's like, I want to do great content and show a great picture. So I was always the picture hits first, right? Before you actually get into the content. And I was always like, wow, this guy is...
He shoots with what? Do you remember?
I couldn't tell you. I was more impressed by the lighting.
Yeah.
Because the
lighting in these things is actually much more important than the cameras.
No, of course, we know that. But, you know, a lot of the times, my takeaway personally is like, bring 3 times as much lighting as you think you'll need. Because... And that's what I've been...
Especially in a big space. He shoots in a huge... that was a huge
space. They rented a warehouse, and it was supposed to be like 3 interviews and or 3
in succession or something like that.
And actually one canceled out or something, and they had to scramble to find somebody else because they're traveling to a different city. And it's a big warehouse trying to get the lighting. So they bring... What really got me is they bring an actual grip truck. You know, and I'm like, oh, we go out, we throw in some stands in the
back of the car and light some stuff.
So whenever we take a bunch of stuff, you know, it's you know, you see a production like that, and you go, okay,
it's tens of thousands of dollars of
just grip.
It's very expensive, but the result is fantastic,
amazing. Getting that light, using that. You know, that space correctly, and I haven't seen the other videos that they shot in this space, but apparently they don't use the same exact set for each one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because it's a different video. They want it to look a little different.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I mean, with a warehouse, you can put it in any
of course. No, that's interesting. I didn't.
It'd be interesting to see the other videos and compare.
Interesting. Okay. So watch that behind the scenes. It's really worth watching if you want to see how to make like an interesting interview or podcast just like this, but very, very high level of production. So that's Chris Williamson BTS. Edelkrone has a new small product, but interesting. It's called the FlexTILT Max. So we had the original FlexTILT. It's a great product. It works fine. It basically allows you to have different angles to your camera in a relatively compact.
It's a foldable design. It gives you multiple angles. You can go.
They even made, I think, a 3D printed version of that, but that wasn't very it was. You saw that.
I don't remember seeing that, but the limitation with this product and with the new products is the weight.
The weight, the carrying capacity, actually, more than the weight.
Exactly. So with a 3D printed one,
that
would even be more
it's
limited.
for like action cameras and maybe really tiny cameras, but I wouldn't put an actual big camera on the 3D printed one. On this one, if you... like the change that they included is that I think the reach is longer, and if I'm not mistaken, maybe I am, it has another like angle, another tilt.
It looks like an accordion, and I think it's 4. The other one was 2. It must have been 2 or 3. Folds,
I think it was 2 and this is 3. I know. I'll put it on the screen. Anyway, we'll see.
No, the other one was a Z. Because you can level it up and then you can bring it down. And this one has an extra 1 or maybe 2, so you can extend it. You can
but it's on the expense of the carrying capacity.
Of course, because that leverage is on one of the hinges, and of course that's not gonna carry that much weight.
At 50 centimeters, they say it's 1.5 kilograms. 1.5 kilograms. It's not ideal. I mean, small camera and lens. So I know, but obviously you don't have to extend it fully. You know.
Right. Of course. I mean,
guessing you can put a 2 kilogram camera in most angles other than full extent. I know. So that's kind of cool. What else do we have? Oh, QNAP has an interesting new product. It's called the Thunderbolt 4 All-Flash NASbook. So it has a longer like TBS whatever H5. I'll put it on the screen. But the thing is that that's not the first NAS all NAS, because all NVMe, I mean,
All-Flash,
NAS, yeah, All-Flash NAS.
Asus Store has one.
Asus Store has one. They announced it a little bit earlier this year. I didn't test it. I tested other Asus Store
I was
products.
really interested with that one.
What, the Asus Store one? Or?
Well, when that first came out, because I had just talked about that with a friend who does. He was saying that he came up with a way to put double NVMe as each bay instead of a hard drive in each bay. So I was like, oh, that's awesome, and we were gonna actually.
But the question is whether or not the transfer speed of the entire NAS is fast enough.
Well, he was saying that you could use an old Mac, like a tower Mac, for housing, because it has all the fast connections, and it can give you 10 gigabit access.
It will be okay. So
it'll be a lot bigger and a lot more expensive. So
if you have one just lying around, an old one, maybe, I know.
I was actually gonna buy this system, and
seriously?
between getting shipping the drives and shipping, you need special adapters, and the machine and everything on the work.
What do you need it for? Just an editing?
Yes, I want to connect 4 computers, editing computers, and not have to share files. Everything's connected. Everything's.
So maybe this is a solution.
So this is definitely a solution. But now I'm trying to see. I watched the Asus Store review from Linus just this morning to see what the difference is. I'm not sure exactly why. This is actually a lot more expensive.
This is I think that this is a much more powerful machine. I think.
In what?
The processor and everything. Look.
They have an i5 version of this one.
This is what I'm saying. And this makes sense that it will be expensive, because it needs to have it's an actual machine as you wanted to buy like a Mac. So that's a PC one, but still. So yeah. I've been using, as I said a couple of times before in these reviews, I've been using a QNAP NAS, which works fine. It's a powerful one, also with i7, I think. The only thing that doesn't work very well for me at the moment is they have an app. It's called QMaggie. It's basically it goes over all the images that you have on the NAS, or whatever place you're telling it to, but in my case, I'm letting it run through the entire thing. It's about 500,000 images and 70,000 videos. That's quite a bit, and that's fine. I'm okay with it, like waiting for it to process the entire thing. But it keeps getting stuck on like 11%, and I've been talking to them. I know they have some issues with the software. It has some bugs. At the end, if it will work as it should be able to recognize faces. You can give them names, so art or whatever, all the IDO images, art images, whatever, your family, friends, and recognize objects and all sorts of stuff like that. So that's nice, and also recognize duplicate images, and so that's a cool thing. But again, in my case, I know they keep forcing it to be in the browser. I would actually prefer it to be like a standalone app, but I don't know, everything is browser these days for whatever reason. Okay, so that's the QNAP Thunderbolt 4 Flash NASbook. Next we have, this is a super high quality generative AI for images that adds some details. You looked at that.
Yeah, it's basically the review that I watched is compares the resolution of AI, because AI is everywhere now.
Yeah.
And you can generate images, but it's limited to the resolution.
Yeah.
Or the resolution is limited on what you can create, right?
No, Adobe, for example, if you're using the generative AI, is 1024 by 1034, or something like that.
So what people have suggested is you don't generate the whole part, or like if you need to extend a background, for example, you don't generate the whole side of it. You take a square and then a square.
You're talking about Adobe or this one?
Adobe.
Oh, okay.
Adobe, because it's limited, right?
Yeah.
So Adobe limits the resolution on what it generates, right? So this AI takes the generated image and it upscales it.
Yeah.
Right? And apparently does a way better job. It's not exactly the same image, it uses, so you generate, say, like the example was like a cabin in the woods, right?
Yeah, but to me it looks like well, it's still generative AI, but it looked good. But I don't know, I had some reservations after looking at that for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
we'd have to do some tests. I mean,
Yeah.
it was only one example in the video, and it looked
Is
a
it
lot.
out or is it still beta or what? We have to say, yeah. So yeah, it's keep getting better. I
It's
guess.
just another show, another marker in the stay in the.
I'm waiting for Adobe to fix the limitation on the resolution. It's really annoying.
Yeah, it is.
I know. They have, it's not just that. I think they have some issues with, I don't remember which one, that creates, they have this eraser thing. I don't know if you're using this, the new smart eraser, how do you call it?
Yeah, it's called the remove tool.
Remove tool, yeah. It's fantastic, but sometimes it creates these it's a strange pattern, crisscross pattern.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I don't know what the hell is. How did they didn't fix it by now? Because most of the time it works really well, but sometimes I don't know. It's just,
and I couldn't figure out why. I was
why it does that? Yeah,
cleaning up a photo the other day, and I was like, I noticed that before. I don't know if I just didn't see it or hadn't seen it.
It doesn't happen all the time. It happens some of the time, and it's exceptional. I use it all the time now.
That's great.
To clean dust, and we'll talk about dust removal in maybe a future video. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's the high resolution generative AI. Let's talk about the latest announcement by DJI, the Ronin 48K.
Yeah.
So that's one is a strange one, because they announced this basically along with the 6K back in 2021, I think.
Yeah.
Late 2021. So it's what, 3 years? So two and something, I don't know, but long time ago. And I always assumed, because I wasn't really into buying this, I always assumed that it was already on the market. It's just a high-end product that not a lot of people have. But apparently, no, it was just introduced into the market, although it was announced way back.
Yeah, it's not strange.
I'm not sure why it took them so long.
A few months ago, before this was announced, there was a lot of talk, not a lot. I came across some talk on the internet about this whole project being abandoned by the company.
Oh, really?
Not by the talk wasn't
other
from
people
the company.
saying,
like, what's going on? We haven't received updates. We haven't received the firm.
Didn't people order this back in 2021? Or
apparently, yeah. And
seriously, they waited like 3 years.
Apparently, people that own the system, they love it, but they were really afraid of it being abandoned and not growing as an ecosystem. So it's, on the one hand, yeah, it took forever and it's kind of strange. On the other hand, it's still 8K is still, we're not past that. I mean,
no, the system itself is, from what I've been hearing, it's very, very capable. I think the major issue with it, I know we haven't tested it, but from what I've seen, the reviews and the user comments, maybe the biggest issue is the weight. The system is very heavy. Yeah. So if you want it as a run and gun thing, you need to have some sort of support. I'm kind of surprised that there are no more, maybe there are and I didn't see them, but more dedicated supports like arms and what you call it, the
easy rigs.
The easy rigs. I mean, maybe you can.
People have tried it.
Yeah.
I don't know if very successfully. It's kind of a strange system because it's already supposed. I mean, already.
No, it's stabilized, but the thing is, it's very heavy.
So it just needs.
And it has the way that you hold it. It's not a shoulder camera. It's a front holding camera. I don't know how you call it. So you need to hold it like this, and if you're holding it for half an hour, that's going to be pretty heavy. Yeah. So again, I would assume that by now they will have the second generation, but apparently not.
So what I'm thinking is, to keep people interested, they finally came up with this. I'm sure they're exploring and innovating. I mean, it's DJI.
The thing is that I don't see them releasing in the next half a year or even a year anything new.
Not. But at least they got people excited again.
Maybe they can release all sorts of accessories like, well, they already have. I think, do they have a LiDAR for this? Or can they use the existing LiDAR with this?
I saw some. Yeah, DJI has a LiDAR for their Ronin.
Does it work with this?
I'm not sure if it's compatible, but it should be because it's the same.
Well, should and does are two different things. But yeah, that's the 48K, which is apparently now on sale. So that's that. Another different interesting product. It's Blackmagic BMPCC. I always have trouble.
Pocket cinema camera.
Exactly. So this is a mod. Which some guy created, apparently very high quality, and Terrafold, the production company, which has a YouTube channel, they're doing really nice stuff. Watch their channel; they have some nice content. So they did a video on this, and they showed how it actually solves some of their issues working with a pocket cinema camera. Right. It's for the 4K one, I think.
The 4K, the original, well, not the original. There's a previous one, but the classic OG.
I think the guy who invented this has an idea to release the 6K. I'm not sure. I didn't talk to him, but
he would. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So it's really nice to actually see something like this coming from an actual person. I mean, we cooperated with SmallRig, which it's a company that already makes all these things. I'm guessing he partner with somebody, but in this case it's not branded as somebody else's product, so what it is,
it's a mod to take the screen off the back of the Blackmagic cinema camera, a pocket cinema camera, because it didn't tilt. The original one does not tilt, and there have been mods that had come out before that tilted the screen, which was good, but they had some issues with like the hinge, the wiring.
The wiring, yeah.
So this one eliminates the screen from the back of the camera completely, and replaces that back panel with a V-mount plate. So you stick a V-mount battery on it, power the camera,
which solves a different problem of the batteries of the camera.
Because the two problems on the camera is, as amazing as it is, very small batteries that don't last you anything, and
the screen which is not rotating.
Right. So basically, it eliminates. It doesn't eliminate the screen. It takes that spot of the screen to place a big battery on there, and the screen goes on top, and it becomes a swivel screen.
It's
not a swivel.
Tilt?
Like a tiltable top screen, like a top camera.
But is it, I mean, if you want to do a selfie, can you do it? And remember the direction that you can...
I don't think you would use this camera for selfies, but...
No, not selfies, like holding it. I'm talking like
a vlog style.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's swiveled. No, but
that could be cool, if you can do like it's on top, but you can also like twist it in this angle. But that's a cool project, and kudos for the person who's done it. You still need to do it yourself, I think, or you sending him the camera, or both?
The other one I mentioned, you actually send the camera in, they fitted it for you.
I'm not sure how it works in here, but
I would assume something like that, because I don't know.
No, I'm thinking that you have the option. He sends you or will send you the instructions with a kit, and you will do it yourself. If you're brave enough, to... No, it's supposed to be fairly easy if you're a little bit technical, but I know you need to weld or not
solder.
That's the Blackmagic BMPCC mode. This one is big, literally. It's called the SISU. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
SISU Cinema. I
never heard about them, but
apparently it's a big name.
Yeah, really? Okay. Okay. So they have a robotic battery box. So we've talked about our robot. We haven't showed it enough in the channel. Our Loki robot. We will in 2024. I'll promise. But basically, with a robot, as anybody who has been working with a robot, like a professional cinema robot, knows it requires a lot of power So there is no, you can't take it to the street and, and work with it.
Yeah, you can throw a V-mount battery on.
I mean, I know maybe you can with like those like big USB, not USB, like lithium-ion boxes.
Batteries, yeah.
But I'm not sure how long they will last, because this one...
It requires robotic arms. They require a lot of like quick delivery power, not just over time. Like a
voltage
light,
or
like a light, you can just you can get away with a V-mount because it just spreads.
It depends. It depends
on the power or
the output of the light, of course.
But for something like this, you want immediate delivery, so it has to be, and a regular battery would just drain very quickly from that.
Yeah, I think we talked to the guys that makes the Loki robot.
Right.
Yeah,
Cinema
Motion. We asked them, I think, about doing like a battery operated option. I don't remember what they said.
I don't remember that conversation.
But anyway, yeah. So this battery is gigantic, right?
It's 270 kilos. It's like 600 pounds or something like that.
Wow, that's nuts. It has wheels, I'm guessing.
Of course.
Yeah.
They show the two guys rolling it out of a production van. Or not van.
And there is no pricing as far as I remember. It's like
gotta be
it's probably rental for the most part. Course, and but the idea is that you will be able to take the robot outside if you want to move it, because these things are like the entire, it's not like our robot is very small. Right. So our robot, I think it work very easily with like an external battery, and that's not a problem. The bigger robots, I know, it's like you need to, but yeah. So at least there is the option. So that's the SISU Cinema Robotics battery box. And this is interesting. These are, Godox keeps releasing products. There is no stopping them. So now they have two new projection attachments. Yeah. The first is called Godox BLP, and the second one is BFP. So one of them is I think the BLP is for LED and the BFP is for flash. Makes sense. And I mean, did you see the images? I think they have videos. If they have, I'll put them on the screen. I don't know. Did you notice any major differences? We should be getting them in 2024. Probably early in 2024. So we'll have a review at some point. But did you see the differences?
You can't really tell.
Yeah, it's you need to actually
the
work
article
with them.
that I read talked about the aperture one that came out.
Oh, I wanted to mention that.
Competing against that one, or with that one.
Aperture has...
and the Aperture one looks really good, even though this is not the first one for Aperture or
for Godox, exactly.
Godox we've reviewed, and it wasn't amazing. Aperture we've reviewed, it was pretty good.
But what we reviewed was not Bowen's, it was specific to the 60 watt.
It had a specialty mount for a specific fixture, 60 watt fixture. So they're stepping up the game here big time, and it's
there's so much you can do better, and I've said that many times, I think, and you said it in the reviews that we have made on projection attachments. There is much that can be done to improve the basic design that almost all projection attachments have. Right. They have all sorts of strange limitations. You usually can't turn the gobo 360 degrees, which is...
at least the Aperture one you can, and it looks like a little...
really?
A little gear.
So that was one of my ideas
to do that. And it's like you can do the micro adjustments that we
maybe the Godox as well, I'm not sure.
I would think so, because, I mean, why would you... that's how competition works. You see them doing it, you gotta step it up, right?
No, that was
because
my idea.
That was the main thing, because I mean, if you're lighting up a big spot, then you don't need precision. But
I have some ideas on gels and other stuff, but I'll leave it for my next product. But that's the two projection attachments by Godox, and it's worth mentioning that Aperture has one as well. Right. Midjourney has version 6 now. You didn't try it yet, right?
I can't keep up. They're moving so fast.
Do you know what's new? I mean,
it's like a whole new prompting system. It requires very specific.
The original one, I actually never tried Midjourney. I'm using Adobe more. So
Midjourney is like the techies, AI generator. It requires like
specific prompts
that you need to remember. It has a whole list of prompts that it uses. Like
it's not natural language exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. But now, version 6, apparently you have to give it very specific instructions to get what you want. But with that, there's a lot more precision. So you're able to get the same style.
Yeah.
Right. You create something that use that style. I don't know if it's like a copy paste type thing or just you use the same prompting to create.
It's still with that forum. Where do you actually type it? It's
I think it would still be. I haven't used it yet, but it's in
Twitch or not Twitch.
What's it called?
Put it on the screen. Yeah, whatever. But I'm not sure. Didn't they say that they changed that in this version?
I haven't seen. Maybe.
Okay, so if it is,
it'd be great. I don't. People love it. What's it called? I keep thinking Descripts or something.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
People really enjoy using it, but you have to kind of use it for a lot of things to get to know your way around.
This is why I never had the time to actually go and learn it, because I don't have any specific use for it, and what I need to do with the generative AI, I usually do with Adobe.
Yeah, Adobe makes it so much simpler, but
it's more limited.
It's a lot more limited. Resolution is limited, and I don't
the results and
a lot of the results that I get.
Are like strange.
What are you trying to do here?
No, I'm not using it for creative work. I'm using it for like actual. I'm using it for actual work. You know, like I need to fill an area in an image for a client.
Like you want to extend a background restoration, right? Or whatever, fix this. I've used it. I think it's great. As limited as it is.
The Adobe?
The Adobe one.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's just so easy to use. Like I've pulled screenshots from videos that I need a thumbnail for. Just rearrange the whole thing. It's a small image anyway.
No, the resolution. If the resolution is not an issue, go for it. Yeah. Okay, the last one for this LensVid Talk, LensRentals. You know them? It's an American company, big rental house. I'm not sure if the biggest in the States, but probably one of the biggest. And they released this document. It's called the Top Rented Photo and Video Products of 2023. They have.
They do this every year.
Yeah, they have their blog, and it's quite popular. And this time around, I looked at the results. It was all over the internet. It was pretty interesting. I wouldn't say it was surprising, but some of it was a little bit like not surprising, but
it's interesting to find some of the things that are even on that list. Yeah, for me at least.
So let's briefly go over. I won't go over all of it. There will be a link below if you want to deep dive into this. But the first one was the most popular photography and videography gear of 2023. So the first place is the R5. Not really surprising, I guess. And the second one was the
lens, the 70 to 28 to 70 f2.
That's strange. 28 to 70? Why not the 24? Is it a mistake or the?
That's what it says.
I know that's the f2.
Right, the f2.
Yeah. Okay. So it does make sense. And then the 70 to 200 Canon. So you have 3 Canon products at first places, and only then you have the Sony A7.
That
S3.
was interesting.
Why?
Because when you have the FX3, why would you still rent the A7S3? But then this is photography and video, so maybe that's why.
I know it's still a very popular lens.
Because
camera.
It is, but the FX3 is on this list, but I think it's like number 12 or number 12.
Oh, okay.
But what's interesting is number
12 is not the Sony 70-200?
No, I'm seeing FX3 body only, number 12.
It's 13. I think it's 13. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, but the FX6 is on here, and if you compare this order,
the FX6 is not very high on the list.
It was.
Where do you see? It's on a different lens. Yeah, it's my page is the
yeah, page is kind of weird. Number 5 was it? Number 4.
Yeah.
Is A7S3 and
number 5 is the FX6.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, but the FX6 moved up from like number 14 last year to number 5 this year.
That's strange.
Well, that's the thing.
It's not like a new camera or anything.
It's not, but when you compare FX3 and FX6 for the money, for video, I guess it makes sense to just get the FX6.
Yeah. You remember, these are all rentals. So in rentals, the difference in cost is much more negligible compared to if you actually buy the thing. So you pay like, what, I don't know, a few $dozen more per day, and you get supposedly a much higher end camera. So, yeah. What's surprised me about all of this, there is no, I mean, in this is a 20, this specific one is a 20 product 20 product list, list of 20 most popular products. The strange thing is that it's just Canon and Sony. There is nothing else.
There was Fuji on there somewhere way down below.
Here?
Yeah, I saw it.
No, just Sony and Canon.
Maybe.
No, on other lists they do have some other products, but on this specific list, it's just Canon and Sony. The popular, if you, I don't know how they describe popular exactly, what the most rented.
Because they have a separate list for the most rented photography.
So what's popular? I know we need to read this the whole thing, but for at least for popular, it's like it's just Canon and Sony.
Yeah, because
I think last year they had the only product that was not Sony or Canon was the red Komodo.
Yeah.
So, and this year this even didn't make the list. So I know, but I would assume, and maybe I don't know LensRentals or like clientele that well, but I would assume that Ari and Red will be somewhere on this list, but they're not.
Should be, yeah.
But maybe there are other rental houses which more specifically cater to Hollywood level productions.
There's a big range of people who use their services, right? It can be a guy who's just starting in video.
Even just if we were in the States and we were just going, let's say that we need to shoot in a different city.
Exactly.
Or a different state, then you're not going to take all your grip and gear and whatever you could, but it's expensive and complicated. Sometimes it's easier just to rent it wherever you go, and you don't necessarily need to shoot with an ARRI. You shoot with the regular cameras that you shoot with. So
Right, so I mean, it can be a very simple shoot. You just need a couple of cameras and a couple of lenses.
Yeah,
there's probably a lot more of those clients.
And I think the cameras sort of reflect the regular the amount of, well, probably not exactly, but relatively closely the amount of, or the popular professional cameras and lenses that are sold by Canon, Sony for the most part.
Right.
Yeah, but it's interesting not to see any Nikon here. I mean, I'm looking at the rest of the lists. It's a couple of lists. So
check out the article, because this printout is a little strange. I did see Nikon and Fuji but
not a lot.
And even ARRI somewhere way in the back of the list.
Yeah. So yeah, they have some of them here. The last one, this if you look at the last page, they have lenses rented by LensMount. So that's interesting. Yeah. So interesting. Sony is the first one, but well, not the actually no. In 2023 it's the first one. Last year they weren't.
Yeah,
but if you're looking
at 10% increase.
Yeah. No, the increase for Sony is like 3%, 25% to 28%.
It doesn't change 9.83.
I know. Maybe they're seeing, they have a different way of counting. I know. Anyway, the point is this: they like put Canon on two different mounts, so they have EF and RF. If you combine both of them, they have like almost half the entire market. So yeah, that's the RF still didn't, even this year they still have more EF rentals than RF,
even though they're declining apparently.
Yeah, obviously, but I think that the reason for this is that sometimes people rent, even if they're not using like EF bodies, I mean EF Canon bodies. EF is used for other things. You know, you can put EF on completely other systems. So yeah, and adapt EF to other systems, and you know, it's a very versatile system. So I don't think that EF is going to go anytime soon. Obviously, Canon EF DSLRs are probably on their way out. Although I think the Canon 5D4 is still on this list somewhere. Yeah. So it's still pretty popular, surprisingly. I don't know why, but you know, for a rental, I mean, maybe for people who already have a lot of EF lenses.
Yeah, maybe.
So because otherwise, why? You know, if you're renting the whole system,
there's still diehards out there that won't change to.
So in this case, you can see that Nikon is in like after Canon, they're the fourth Nikon F, and Nikon F, and only then you have Fuji, and only then you have Nikon Z. So yeah, it's an interesting read. You should, if you're interested in those sort of like it's not statistics exactly, but information, go and check out the entire article. It's worth reading. So I think that's everything that we have for today. Check out the full article on LensVid with all the links. And again, we have I'll mention this again, the
mini L bracket.
Exactly. Don't forget to subscribe. If you want to watch more videos from LensVid Talks and reviews, that we have quite a few upcoming. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
See you soon.